Hey everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson Sopery. Today we are coming to our chat, of course, our Sunday chat, and I'm sorry it has not happened for a few weeks, but of course, as most of you know, I had lost my voice. It is not 100% back yet, but it's good enough for us to do our Sunday chat. So I think my voice has been lost maybe 3 weeks, roughly, after just getting a head cold and the flu. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about inspiration. We're also going to be talking about, those successful goals that you need to get to as you go along the track. And I do have my little tips and tricks in front of me that I often write down and talk about. So today I'm inside my bedroom that is half renovated. So we're inside here today because the internet is not great in my studio. As many of you know, it's been absolutely terrible. So that's why I couldn't do my live tutorial the other day. So if you're on Patreon, I actually do a live tutorial once a month, and this month is going to be all about whip soap, doing that from scratch. But next weekend on Saturday, we'll be doing that on Patreon. But anyway, for YouTube today, like I said, we're going to be talking about success, how we get there, and I'm kind of going to give you a few tips that I've learned along the way. I'm not saying they'll work for you, but they've worked for me, so who knows? It's just one of those things, isn't it? We're sort of going to learn as we go along. But first of all, the first thing I'm going to talk about, which is, I think, a really big one, and it's called taking responsibility for your role. Hi, lovely. Welcome. Welcome today to our Sunday chat. Hello, Kim. I hope that you're feeling great. Yes, I am back, Kim, and I am actually feeling much better, even though, like I said, my voice is not 100%, but I'm sure none of you will mind. I'll just have a sip of my coffee in between so that my voice doesn't get worse. But I've probably lost my voice at least 20 times in my life, so I don't know what it is, but I get laryngitis or whatever lots and lots of times. So now the first thing we're going to talk about is the responsibility that you take in your role, and that is so important. Oh, thank you, Kim. Actually, Kim, I've been on a gluten-free, health kick at the moment. It's not a diet. It's just I've gone on gluten-free because I often get a swollen tummy. So it's definitely helped me. So anyway, hopefully, I keep feeling better. So because I thought, look, let's just go gluten-free. My son-in-law is gluten-free, he's a celiac, so I thought, look, I'll try that. Actually, I'm feeling 100%, so anyway, that's helped. But now let's get into talking about the responsibility of a role. Now, when we talk about that, as business owners, obviously most of us are the creator, we're the business owner, we do our own taxes, we label everything. We're basically wearing many, many hats. And when I talk about responsibility, the responsibility is you understanding what you're doing, how you're doing it, and so on. So even if you get a recipe, whether it's from me or someone else, you really should test that before you're going to sell it. So, and that is a part of having that responsibility. Oh, yes, Guy, you are catching my live, and I am feeling better, lovely. Welcome to Sunday Chat. So a part of the responsibility is, like I said, testing everything that you get. So even if you find a recipe on YouTube, please pop it through soap calc or test it yourself first. Test to see that it works, because myself and many other soap makers on YouTube, we're wearing so many hats. YouTube is a part of my job, and I do love it. I love everyone that I come across on YouTube. It kind of opens the world up to us all. But it's really important that you test it, because I've often had, well, not often, but I've had a couple people, send me a mean message saying, well, this didn't work and, it's a rubbish recipe or whatever. But you've got to remember that all recipes are different in different areas as well, different environments. If you change up an oil, that's going to change the recipe as well. I know you might think, well, I'm just going to put, for instance, sweet almond oil instead of, rice bran oil, but that totally changes the recipe, because each oil has different benefits. So it's really important, like I said, that you test everything and take responsibility for that testing. Also, a part of being responsible for your own business, and this is one that many of you are going to kind of understand. as I've been sick, and been away, lots of people are saying take time off to get better, which of course I have. That's why I haven't done the Sunday chats. But a part of a business is you can't just close your business because you're unwell, because the bottom line is you still get orders coming in. You still got to get them out, whether it's yourself if you're unwell, or you've trained maybe your kids are teenagers and you've trained them how to actually get an order out, or your husband takes them to the post office, and so on. That's right, Kim. Yep, your humidity, your room temperature, your environment where you live, everything changes. I mean, in Australia, we have, people always think Australia is super hot, and does get hot, but in Melbourne, where I am, Melbourne is a cold climate, the same as Tasmania is very cold. But if you go to Queensland, it's quite warm. So that's the difference. And Queensland has a lot of very high humidities in the tropics. So for anyone overseas, Melbourne is not like a lot of the other states. It is quite cold, and we get a lot of like hail and rain, and where I live in Gippsland, it's it's a cold area, because this is where we have a lot of the milk and cows and things farming, so there's a lot more water. Oh, hi Karen. Yes, I am back. Lovely. Thank you for saying that. That's so nice. So that's the thing that I wanted to talk about. When we talk about responsibility, you can't just shut off your business, because if you do, honestly, you lose clients along the way, and they'll go somewhere else because they still need their product. At the end of the day, if you're like me and do wholesale, your clients, they actually need those products to sell to their customers. So you just can't shut shop because you're sick. And that's something if you really want your soap or candle business to go a long way, you really need to understand that. And my suggestion would be to have something in place when you're unwell. Like I said, getting somebody else to take it to the post office and so on. So I still did things like packing, but my husband, he was taking it to the post office, or my daughters were going into the post office, or they were helping, sort it out into the boxes and so on, because I still had lots of wholesale orders. And now that I'm on Trade Square, I do get quite a lot of wholesale orders. So if anyone is thinking of going on a wholesale platform, definitely try Fair or Trade Square. And Fair's all over the world. So if you're in the US, Canada, many other countries, I think they're in 16 or 18 countries now. I had an interview with them the other day, talking to them, and there are many countries. So you can try it if you're in other countries too. Hello, Mark. Welcome, my love. Welcome to Sunday Chat. So that is a bit, like I said, about the responsibility and the skill set that you need to learn as you go along. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Black Pony. Everything changes, and we just got to remember that where you live will change recipes and so on. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, was the responsibility of yourself. And the same as, if someone's not happy with a product, you are responsible to follow that up. Why are they not happy? How can you fix the problem? You need to be able to solve the problem. And so on. There's no good saying, well, too bad you got the product and it's not my problem. I would never say that. You do need to find a way. Hello, Carly. Welcome, lovely. I don't think there's a market today, because my daughter, who also does a lot of markets where Carly is not doing markets this weekend. I'm sorry, I said I'll have my coffee in between, so to help my voice. So now we've talked about, like I said, good morning, Trish, lovely. I know Trish is in Melbourne too, so she's probably feeling the cold. We've had some freezing cold days. Now, so like I said, we're going to just talk about a few things on here, and hopefully I can give people a little bit of inspiration, because as I always say, I am just a mum from the suburbs. I'm not a wealthy person. I'm a standard person in a little 3-bedroom home. So, anyone can do what I've done, whether you rent a house, own a house, whatever, it doesn't matter. I rented a house for a very long time. So, you can do this, everybody. You don't need money to do this. But one thing I'm going to tell you is you need to be stubborn. You need to be absolutely have direction. You need to just be so strong in your vision and your passion for what you want to do. And that's the only way you're going to make it, because look, let's be honest, there's lots of people in this industry, but the ones that are so headstrong, have their idea and just keep evolving, they're the ones that will work. Because at the start, look, I'm going to be honest, some of my products weren't amazing. I mean, I guess the inside of the product was great, but the packaging wasn't. And I've learned along the way. And one thing I'm going to tell everyone is if I started wholesale from the start, honestly, it would not have been good because I don't think I knew enough to be able to do wholesale. And you've got to get all these orders, little orders, trickling in before you start to do the big one. Otherwise, it's very overwhelming and you'll just give up. Because sometimes, you know, like the last week, I think I've had maybe 9 wholesale orders. And, you know, we're talking about, that's like maybe $3,000 in wholesale retail revenue or more. You know, and that's a lot. Like when you're thinking of that, because remember wholesales, it's really double the amount that you would sell on retail. So that's the thing that's really important, everyone, that, you know, you can't just jump into wholesale. It's really hard. You got to learn little things as you go along. And no matter what you read, no matter what you practice, nothing teaches you rather than being on the job training, which is what we do as small business owners. So I think sometimes it's better to grow a little bit slower, even though it's frustrating and you just want it to work. But sometimes it is better. I used to think, God, I just want the sales. But now thinking back, I do think it is much better the way it is as well. Oh, yes, Sky. So, yeah, with lots of kids. Well, I'm a mum of 7, Sky. So I have 7 beautiful children that are adults now. My youngest baby's 14. I have 2 teenagers home, 14 and 17. But, and I have 2 grandchildren and 1 on the way, another grandchild on the way. But, you know, I have lots of children and, you know, look, I've always worked for myself on and off, some not successful, some successful. So, you know, this is the thing. It's really hard, you know, being a mum. And this is a job, look, if you're a single parent or you've lost your job or something, this is a job that you could slowly do, you know, and there's lots of platforms that aren't going to cost you heaps of money that you could do. So you don't have to have your own website at the start if you can't afford that. So just slowly go into that if, you know, like I said, if you've got lots of kids or you're at home. Because when the kiddies are in bed, that's when you can do this. So, because it's very hard to do it when they're not in bed. So anyway, we've talked about that, the responsibility of the role, and that's a big one. And I take my job really serious. You know, if somebody was not happy, I have no questions to replace the product immediately. So, you know, that's the thing as well. And I want people to be happy. That's why I have a 5-star review, because I do want people to be happy. And, you know, if somebody's ever not been happy with something, I just reach straight out, look, I'll replace it. Often they say, no, look, it's fine. They don't need a replacement, but they want to tell you something about the product. So, you know, that's the thing. You don't always have to replace it, but often they'll say, I'm just telling you that the scent wasn't as strong as I wanted or whatever. But I don't change that. I just say, well, that's just the way my product is, but I'm happy to replace it with something else. But anyway, like that. So now let's talk about the learning and the skills. Now, none of us want to hear this, but, you know, learning is a part of every job. It doesn't matter what you do. So a part of learning is just learning new things, learning how to make soap and constantly evolving with changing your formulations. And even though, look, when I started, I got all my recipes online. I mean, I started off using Royalty's recipe, and then I changed it as I grew and learned more. And then, you know, I've, you know, used many recipes from Ellen Ruth. I've used them for Tara Lee, Hola Lise. I mean, there is so many different people that have given recipes that I've learned and used along the way. So you can use their recipe. Don't be scared to use it. But once you get more, you know, better, then, you know, you can maybe change it and, you know, reformulate it to be more yours. So even if you get my recipe, you might say, well, okay, I love that bath bomb, but I want to use rice bran, for instance, or whatever you want to use. Or if there's a certain oil, or maybe you want to change the fragrance to essential, then just test that. You can use the same recipe, just test it and slowly tweak it and just do tiny batches. So if you get my bath bomb one, for instance, you can halve that, quarter it, whatever you like, just quarter all the ingredients. And that way you'll get a small batch of maybe 5 bath bombs if you quarter my main recipe, because my main recipe is about, I think it's 3 kilos, you know, roughly. So it is a big recipe, but because I make a lot of bath bombs, That's something that I've had to practice. And you know what? When I started bath bombs, honestly, it was absolute fail. Absolute terrible fail when I started making bath bombs. But as I've gone along, I've tweaked it and changed my recipe. And I remember one thing is I just couldn't get a good bath bomb recipe online. And that's why I've always shared my bath bomb recipe. And, you know, if I'm going to sell out of anything, it's bath bombs every time. It's a huge, massive seller for me is bath bombs. But in saying that, every single week, if I give you the tips of what I sell, every week I sell bath bombs, soap, and candles. They are the three that I always sell. My whip soap and things like whip soap, scrubs, and body butters, they don't sell every week, you know. So, but some weeks I'll get lots of orders of them. But generally, like I said, it is honestly the soap and so on that sells. But once people use it and they love it, then they come back. And two, when I started soap, mine was really cleansing because I didn't understand that. And now, whereas I have the, you know, shea butter, cocoa butter in it, and of course olive oil and, you know, the coconut and so on. So it's much less cleansing. But that's a part of it as well. You know, like when I started, I see recipes that are 25% cleansing and some that are, mine are always under 17% cleansing. So that's the thing. But it doesn't matter. Just you do your recipe however you like it. The same as, you know, I do baby soaps and so on. But you also got to understand the cash flow that comes into that because more butters. So my soap, for instance, is $9 a bar now. And that's because I'm using much more expensive ingredients, whereas you might find somebody else sells a bar for $5. But they may not have that A-grade shea, the A-grade cocoa, which is organic certified. So they're kind of things that, you know, are the learning skill that you need to learn as you go along. So that is something that I would say. And skills, your skills might be even learning how to have a production line. That's taken me a long time to learn how to start from, you know, starting to pack orders to how do I keep getting better at packing orders, because when you start to get 5, 6, 7, 8 orders a week, you know, and eventually that does happen to everyone that stays long enough and is determined long enough. What actually happens is then you think, oh, I've got all these orders, which one do I do first? You know, I have part of this order and part of that, and some are not ready. So that is the hard bit, is learning how to do all of that side. So, but you do get better at it as well. Now, this is something that I'm going to tell you that is kind of, I think, is really important. The middle part of your journey is usually the biggest learning curve. So at the start, you're kind of just learning and you really don't know what you're doing. But the middle, you kind of know more what you're doing, but you still haven't grown enough to get the sales. So that, but you know, but then when you get to the end, or not the end, but like myself, you know, I've been doing this for quite some time. So I guess I'm like at the 3/4 mark, whereas I've learned most of what I need to learn, and now I just kind of update my skills all the time. But, you know, you're learning all that. But that middle part of learning how to slowly grow, learning how to package, learning how to use social media, learning how to formulate, that's the most important part of any of these kind of jobs. Because, you know, you think at the time, oh, that's so annoying, I just want an order because I just need to get some cash in the door. But those middle parts are so important to learn. The same as, you know, at the start I didn't do markets, but then I started to. Markets are such a big learning curve, everyone. It teaches you how to talk to customers. It teaches you how to sell your product. It teaches you how to get your product across the mark. And, you know, if you start like I did and people aren't buying as much. So like I've said in other videos, when I started doing markets, I was selling $80 or $100. At the end of my markets, because I grew and learnt, I was selling $1,000 a market. So that's the thing. You can go from earning $80 a market to $1,000 a market. But it's all about your packaging, you know, the way you display your products. And one of my videos, which is I show, because many of you probably know, I studied interior design. That was my trade before I got into this. And a part of that is merchandising. And I merchandised many stores I worked in because I managed a number of stores. And a part of doing that is you've got to learn, you know, how products sit, the eye appeal, you know, what product to put at the front, what to put at the back, what to put high, what to put low, angling products, and so on. So go back and watch that video if you haven't and you need tips on a market, because that is definitely my most watched video. I think it has close to 25,000 watches on it or something like that. So it's had a lot of people watch, and I get lots of people from all over the world reach out to me about that video. So it's really important to kind of understand the merchandising side when you're at a market. Just putting it all on a flat level is not going to help you. And you can go to your local discount store and just get some trays, or if you're clever, just bang up a couple trays, get an old box and put it on its side, and put your products in it, put shelves in the middle. They're the kind of things that you can do. So, that's what I'm saying. In the middle is the most important part of the journey, learning, because once you learn that, honestly, then you can keep growing, which is what I've done. I've just honestly just kept growing as I've gone along. But if I had have just went bang and went straight into wholesale, I reckon it would have been a bit of a fizzer, because I think I would not have been able to cope getting the products out and all of that, because even though I've got my daughters that can help, or my husband, I'm the main creator, so they don't know how to create it. They can help me package it, take it to the post office and things like that, but they can't help make it unless I start to teach someone, and eventually, hopefully, I can hire someone part-time to come in and help. But that's just a part of that little journey that I thought I would talk about as well. Now, also, the last bit I'm going to talk about is social media and the comments that go with that. Now, this is the hard bit, and we'll talk about the social media, and let's talk about the bit as well that comes into it, which is the personal attacks sometimes that you get, because you do get people that troll you as well, and that is a hard bit as well. Oh, hi, sweetheart. You have caught me, my love, towards the end, but that's okay. We've still got 10 minutes or so to go. So now, when you're doing social media, and it is a massive part, look, everyone's going to laugh at this, but I started with 2 people on Instagram, and now I've grown to, I think, almost 1,000. I have a Facebook group as well, and on that Facebook group, I often give away a little recipe, or tips and tricks, or show them. It's all about what I'm doing and what my business is doing, and I post images and people can comment, or they can ask questions in there. And it's a free Facebook group. It's a private group. So if you want to join, just go over there and join. And my thing is, if anybody is trolling or rude, they get blocked immediately and removed. So it is a very safe platform for everyone. Nobody needs to feel scared to ask a question in that group as well. So you can go and join that if you like. And I think we have 150 or something on that group, which is a lovely group. It's nice to just talk about, how you're going, your journey. If you need to ask questions, I'm there to answer, or Patreon, of course. Oh, hi, lovely. Hi, Keista. Yeah, I am actually feeling okay, but like I said, my voice is not 100%, but it's okay. It's getting there. So I'll just sip my coffee again. Yeah, my voice is definitely getting there, so it will come back in time. But yeah, a part of social media that I never expected, and this is another part of learning in business, I did not expect people to attack me personally about the way I looked. And look, I've had people tell me that I wasn't attractive, or, that I look old. They're things that nobody is set up to cope with. I can tell you, it's, even though you don't know the person, they don't know you, it's actually really hurtful still. And there have been a number of times I've cried over it, but you just got to get a thicker skin when it comes to social media, and you just have to say, they don't know me, they're not my person, and so on. Oh, thank you, lovely. You're a gorgeous girl. Thank you. So, yeah, that's the thing that I want to say, that, you have to be prepared for that, and there's nothing to prepare you for that as well. Oh, you're learning a lot from me. Thank you, my love, Kay Marie. I'm glad you're learning a lot, and that's why I started this channel, to hopefully teach people, because when I started, that was the hardest thing. You're so determined, you're excited, you're revved up, you want this business to work, you can see it, you can almost taste it. But, when you don't know enough, you just need people to say it. And for me, I like to be brutally honest and transparent on how it is, because you don't just open the store and the labels don't just shoot out of machines like we all see. That just doesn't happen. And I'll tell you what, that does not happen for me. I do one label at a time. And I have a very old computer, and my computer was one that my kids used at school and didn't need anymore. So that is the computer I use. So you don't need anything fancy. I shoot all my videos on an iPhone that we got on a plan for me to use. So everything is done. The most expensive thing, other than those, the phone, is a microphone that I bought, and I only just recently bought it for $78. So you can do this. You can do little reels. Reels are what really have got me noticed. Can I tell you, everyone, I actually went from only a few months ago. Oh, thank you, my love. You are so sweet. Oh, thank you. I was just reading the comment because I don't have my glasses on, everybody. Yeah, and oh, you like my honesty? Yeah, and I try and say this honestly, everybody. It's really, really important. It's so important. Yes, Guy, look, honestly, lovely. And Kim, I get it when anyone says anything mean. And you know what? Now, listen, this is something I'm going to tell all of you, because you're all my friends. I love all of you guys because we talk so much. And I kind of feel like I know you through here. But the one thing I'm going to tell you, do not depend on your family or friends to support you, because they do not. Most times, honestly, I'm going to be honest here, my biggest supporters are strangers that I've never met. My biggest buyers are people I've not met. They're through the internet or so on. So don't get upset when your families don't buy it, or they say, can I have a discount? I want a half price. You think, no. That's the thing as well. Please don't get discouraged when your mum, your sister, your aunt, your cousin, your friend down the road, your best friend from school, your partner, anyone doesn't buy anything. There's nothing wrong with them not buying it, but you just have to remember that they're not who you're trying to sell to. You're trying to get people that don't know you yet, because they're the ones that are going to follow you along and really support you in your journey. So that's something super, super important that, has to be said. But like I said, for social media, just keep plugging away, because you know what? I kind of went about 6 months ago. I think I had maybe 500, followers, and I've never paid anyone or anything. I just, organically get it as well. Turning your candle or soap into a business. Yeah, well, you can definitely do that as well. You can definitely do that, lovely. It takes time, And honestly, I am the best example of how this can happen. Well, that's right, Kim. You're right. Strangers love your product more, and they're going to follow you more. I promise you. I mean, I've met some amazing, amazing people. And even through the conference, I sat on a table with some gorgeous ladies. And on that table, we sort of made quite good friends. And, I've even gone out for coffee with some of the people I've met through the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference, which I own that and set that up. But, that's the thing. You meet people along the way. And you know what? This is the thing I'm going to say, Kay Marie. Sometimes family can get a little bit envious, because they say, oh, who's going to buy candles so that you can make a living, But, and even my beautiful dad said to me once, he said, I never realised that anyone could make money from soap, Yeah, well, that's right, Lana. You will be held back from family. Family always say, oh, don't do it. You're going to lose your money. Well, do you know what? Some of the richest people in this world took that chance. They just took the chance and said, look, bugger it. Let's see if this works. And don't take out a loan. This is the thing I tell everyone, no loan. If you just slowly, so say you sell a $50 item, put most of that money back into the item again. And then that's how I grew, by slowly just putting the money back in, putting it back in, and then you slowly grow as you go along. But if you take out a loan, then you're stressed. If you have a warehouse or whatever, you're stressed. I gave up my warehouse, and now I have a studio on my property, which is just like a little granny flat at the back. So even if you have a spare room, a back part of the hallway, even half a room. Yeah, that's right. Selling to your family are the worst sometimes, Marie, because you know what? They can actually be the most brutal, and many people have talked about how family have sued them in business. So don't think it's not going to happen, Yes. Well, that's right, Kim. I did watch a thing about Richard Branson a while ago, and he was actually saying that, you just got to fail at these things before you get good. And I do think that you fail once or twice, you learn, and then you go, okay, now I know what I've got to do, and then that's the thing, you get a bit thick-skinned. Before, when I've had other businesses, you kind of think, why aren't my family buying from me? And it's really depressing. But then as you go along, because like I used to sell Party Plan for quite some time, and and then you think, why aren't they buying from me? And they don't. But then you sort of learn, well, they're not your tribe, they're not your customer. They're your family, but they're not your customer. I mean, it's the same as your family don't all work with you in, if you work at Kmart or Coles or Walmart, wherever you work. Your family don't work there either, so don't worry about that. You've got to separate that family from work, and just put it into that way as well. Yeah, well, that's right. Body care is something we need all the time, isn't it? And you know what? We also need some self-love for ourselves as well. Well, oh, that's right, Kista, you are so right. Family want it for free. But my beautiful mother-in-law, she always pays me. She will never take anything without paying me, and she often comes and gets presents for her friends from me. I give her a little discount because she's very supportive, but that's the thing. If you have somebody in family, you can give them a bit of a discount, but don't kind of stress too much. So yeah, like I said, so dealing with social media is about dealing with the comments. Always reply. If somebody sends a message, please reply back as well. Yeah, that's right, Kay Marie. We're right. And, I think the thing is, we've just got to kind of remember that, they're not our tribe. Just do your thing. And, really, when you're starting a business, your family are a tiny network anyway. You don't really need to sell to them. You want the bigger market. You want your doors to be open for other people to go, I love that product, I'm going to buy that. So, and then of course you want them to tell their friends. So you need to try and get people to put a Google review. On most of my cards, I say, look, if you feel that you love the product, why not leave me a review? And that's how I've had people review me. Even on YouTube, anybody watching me on YouTube can go on my Google and they can review me, give me a Google review. And all you got to do is look up Nelson Interior Soapery or Nelson Soapery, and then it doesn't have to be even buying a product. You can say, I've learned so much from that person, which I've had people from YouTube do that as well. So that's the thing. Even if you're teaching somebody and helping someone, ask them to leave you a Google review about that, because that helps people see what you're doing and how you're trying to help people as well. Yeah, that's right, lovely. I know what you mean, Sky. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and look, that's the thing. You just got to learn everybody about how it is as well. Yeah, I know. Look, it is scary doing this, but and the thing is too, I tell everybody, no matter where I am, I mean, I don't push my product, but if you're at a supermarket and they say, how was your day today? Because, they have to ask that. That's just a part of what they do. It's kind of like McDonald's, do you want fries with that? I mean, they just say, and I always say, oh, great, I'm a soap maker. And they go, oh, that's interesting. What do you do? And then I tell them, they go, oh, great. And I've had people buy products that way. So, you can literally just talk about what you do. If you don't talk about it, no one else is going to. So you have to sell yourself. And a part of me being successful is selling me, because people want to resonate with you. They want to trust you. They want to like you. And, but you've got to be, I think you've got to be honest, and you have to be authentic and your authentic self. Like I'm me. I can't pretend forever. So who I am is who I am. I've always been, the giver. So I've always been that person. I like to help people. So it was just, it just felt normal for me to help. And too, like, obviously I have Patreon and people pay me on there, but not everyone can afford that, and I totally understand that. So that's why I still give away things on YouTube, and I have a Facebook group, because they're free avenues for people that can't afford to support me on Patreon. You're still supporting me watching YouTube, and because, obviously I get paid from YouTube. So the more people watch or comment, then that's how, any YouTuber gets paid as well, and that is a part of revenue as well. So now the last thing I'm going to talk about is the legacy. You have to ask yourself, what are you going to be leaving to your industry, or what are you going to be leaving to your family? So for me, you know, at the end of my time, I just want people to say, you know what, she was really nice, she was helpful, and, you know, I got some laughs. I mean, that's it. You know, that's what I want to know, and I want people to feel like they've learnt something along the way with me, and they've felt that, you know, I've helped them in their business be successful, because that would make me so happy, because like, I'm married, as many of you know. I've been married for more than, I've been married a long time. So, you know, nearly 18 years, but this is my second marriage. So before, I was actually a single mum. So I know what that's like to be a single mum and struggling. So, you know, but you just got to just slowly put in those little lines to get there, everyone. It takes a long time. So that's the thing. I've lived on the side where I've lived on potatoes, because I've had no other money. But then I've lived on the other side where, you know, now I'm much more comfortable. So that's the thing. I just want people to know that it doesn't matter where you come from, whether you have a little or a lot. You can do this, but give yourself a 5-year plan. It's so important. You can't give up in a year. If you give up in a year, you will never, ever make this work. Every business takes 3 to 5 years to be known. So please remember that when you're struggling, and believe in yourself, everyone, because you can do it. I am the actual example that you can do it. Somebody with not heaps of money can do it. Like I said, we live an hour and a half out from the city. We're a long way out. We couldn't afford to live in the city. But it's all about just believing in yourself, believing in the product, and self-promoting yourself. There's so many free avenues. I don't pay for things as well. So like everything I do on YouTube or whatever, it's free. I always get people saying, you know, do you want to promote this? You know, I'll put it on my website. And I'm like, no, because it doesn't work. Honestly, it doesn't. People know when it's a paid promotion. They just, I mean, if it's on YouTube and I'm collaborating with someone, that's different. People like that because they know I've tested it. And they, you know, and I will never put something up, no matter how much someone pays me, unless I think it works or it's good. So that's the thing as well. That's something you can do. And, you know, if you want to go at YouTube, have a go. You start on your iPhone. It doesn't matter. Do videos on your computer. I mean, you can load them on your computer and load them on. You might teach someone how to use Canva, or teach them how to use a program, or teach them how to design a label. I mean, there's many things that, you know, you don't have to show your face either. And I have a very good friend that does not show her face on any videos because she doesn't want to be known. So that's fine too. There's lots of things that we can do. But like I said, leave your legacy to be kind, be sweet, be nice, and let people trust who you are as a me. Oh, that's right, Kay Marie. That's right. As a single mum, you know, that's right. You just want to teach your kids the right way. And, you know, my kids, you know, we often play cards together as adults, and my network is really my adult children, you know, my good friends. So as, you know, your kids grow older, it gets easier. But, you know, when the kiddies are asleep, that's when you can go and make things as well. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think too, like lots of people are saying, you just got to get a product. And you know what? I've made many products that have been a flunk. They've been a fail. They haven't worked. But, you know, that's a learning thing. Then you go, oh, bugger, they didn't work. But, you know, then you go, okay, well, that's not going to work. Or if you have something and no one's buying it, then you have to say to yourself, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe that product's not working for my business, and then go on to the next. So drop that product if it's not selling. Go to the next one as well. That is so important, to drop a product that is not selling and go to the next. So if you're, for instance, doing a soap, look, now I'm going to tell you, actually, this is a great example. I was last year or the year before, I did a soap that was like a Christmas soap. You know, every Christmas the fragrance companies come out with like pudding and whatever. Well, I bought one, I thought, God, this stinks. And honestly, and my dad smelled it and he said, God, who's going to buy that? That's horrible. And he was right. He said, don't make this. And I said, well, I'm going to make one, Dad, and see. So I made a slab of it. Honestly, I gave every bar away. I think I sold 1 bar out of 65. So that's the thing. If that doesn't work next year, do not bring that in. So this year I have my Christmas soaps. I'm only going to do 4, but they are not, and they don't smell like that. So I've got one that's fruity. I've got one that's more like patchouli. So they're not traditional putting things. So just because it says Christmas plum, it doesn't mean you have to sell that at Christmas. You know, if one says peppermint candy, that doesn't mean it has to be only Christmas. So, you know, you might do one that say red, green and white, but, you know, maybe this year, instead of putting cinnamon in it, maybe just make that a fruit scent or raspberry that someone's going to like. So it's a Christmas colour, but you know they're going to love it because it's going to smell beautiful. So don't go using all these pudding, super cinnamony ones that people just won't like, especially in Australia. People don't like them. They don't sell. I'm going to be brutally honest here. They don't sell. No matter what I've done, whether I've done them in soap, body butters, candles, they've never sold, never ever sold. The only one that's a good seller is peppermint at Christmas. So I usually do one peppermint, but I mean, most of us like a peppermint or a spearmint type scent. So that's a seller anyway. And don't do lots of things that are Christmas colours as well. Oh yeah, there are some horrid ones. You're right. You're right, lovely. There's some really horrible ones. So I say the Christmas pudding, scratch it. Don't even go there. You know, I've never ever had success with it unless you're in an area where people superly love it. But you know, most people pick that up and go, oh, yeah. And you know what? Sometimes if they get that and they buy it and they don't like it, it turns them off buying one. So, and sometimes with those super strong ones, only put half the amount of fragrance that you usually would use, because they're so strong you don't need a lot of fragrance, and they're just too overpowering. I mean, honestly, the Christmas pudding ones, I mean, they knock you out. They're just so strong, you know. But rather than throw them out, maybe you can mix like a pine with a cinnamon or something else to kind of get that really nice kind of scent, and make some labels that aren't too Christmassy. So I have a few this year. One's like called Antique December, which is like a blue with holly leaves. And, you know, like I said, nobody would think blue Christmas, but it looks really soft, beautiful, and it's like a sky baby kind of blue. So, you know, people are going to love it as well. That's right. Tweak it to make it work. You know, just change it. And many people ask me about a lot of my fragrances, especially Blooming Rose. I get asked all the time for the recipe, and there's some that I just don't give away the recipe because they're my big sellers. And that's okay. Don't feel like you have to give away everything. You don't. But pretty much all of my fragrances are mixed. I don't use any straight. The only straight fragrance actually I do use is bubblegum. But other than that, none of them are the same. Even my baby ones, I don't just use a baby powder. I usually put a lavender or something else with it, or I put a tweak of a couple peppermint drops or something else. So, you know, like, just change your fragrance to be more unique to you, because then people can't, you know, if you say, for instance, just plain lemongrass, well, they can go anywhere and get that same lemongrass. So add something else in it that just tweaks it that tiny bit. And like, I have a new one coming out that's going to be called Patchouli Snow. And that one has patchouli and other elements in it as well. You know, it has some berries, some pine, and so on. So it's a beautiful scent. But that's the thing. Don't just use one scent. You know, just kind of tweak it to be uniquely yours. But I will leave today's chat with saying thank you, everyone. You're amazing. Thank you for following me. And, of course, you know, logging in. I know I'm taking away your Sunday, or if you're in the US or overseas, a Saturday evening. So like I said, leave your legacy to be a kind person, a giving person, and of course a really nice gentle person. So I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye.